Now before defining the next file, to make things easier, it is better to add a $finish here at the end, which you can remove later while you enable the run test and run things and make sure that there are no compile errors and the simulation is finishing at 0 time. So it is compiling, and then you can see that the next file that we need to define here will be the transaction file. So you can see there are no compile errors here. The testbench.svh is finishing up here. So next file I'm going to define is AXI transaction.svh, and which I need to include in the compilation scope. It's AXI txn.svh, and here is the code for that. So first I'm defining a base transaction which is extending from the UVM sequence item. Next is the factory registration macro. These are the very basics of UVM, which I'm not explaining it here again. And these are the fields in this transaction. This field is to see whether the response is required from the driver. So when this is set, the driver is expected to send back a response. So this is specific to our own implementation. And these are the fields in this base transaction. There is an ID, length, address, data, and response. And also we have field saying what is the channel which is on which this is operating, and what is the type of transaction, whether it is a read or write. And in the new function, this is initialized to 0, and make sure that you are giving the length as 0 here. I know this is a random construct, but the same transaction class will be used in the monitor as well, and therefore if you're not initializing it to 0, it might end up with some wrong debug where you'll go to an infinite loop. So make sure that you initialize the length to 0 in this in the new function. Next, in the constraint, we are defining constraints appropriately. The data.size is equal to length, and length should be greater than or equal to 1. And next one is the constraint channel type. If the channel is inside write address, write data, or write response, the RW will be equal to write, and the other way, if it is a read address or read data, the RW will be equal to read. So this is just a way of abstracting things a little bit. Instead of writing all different transactions in different files, in different classes. Now in the do copy function, after the appropriate cast and roll, copy all the individual fields, and again for convert to string, nicely format your print messages. Since the same transaction class is used for all different channels, you just need to print only the appropriate fields, so based on the channel. So based on the channel, I'm deriving some information. If it is a write address channel, I'm saying print the address. If it is a write data channel, print the data. If it is a response channel, print response. And in the same way, if it is a read address also, make the print address high. If the print address is high, to the reporting structure, the reporting string, the address and length will be appended. And if the print data is enabled, all the data fields will be appended, and in the same way as well for response as well. And also you can see that if it is a write all or a read all type of transactions, which is used to combine all the result in the 3 different or 2 different channels, you can see that print address, print data, and print response will be set high. So when this is set, you will get all this information printed into about this particular transaction. Now let's compile this. You can see that this is already included here. Let's compile and see the results. Alternatively, you can represent all these 5 different channels in 5 different classes, but it is a messy thing. I would recommend this way, where you will combine all this abstract information into a packet and use them appropriately in different channels. So you can see that all these fields are general information about it, about a packet. What is ID, length, address, data, and response, and what is the channel it need to be sent, and whether it is a read transaction or a write transaction. So you can see that there are no compile issues at this point. So it's compiling nicely, and save this, and we will move on to the next one in the next session.